All right, I've got some breaking news that I want to go over about Joe Biden's doctor refusing to come in and speak to members of Congress. President Trump, he's stirring a hornet's nest among MAGA with this Jeffrey Epstein, and now talks about giving amnesty to tens of millions of illegal immigrants. I want to go through this and more with my guest, JJ Carroll. JJ, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love talking our conversations, and this one's going to be great because, as we said off the air, every day, like you said, every day on reporting on Trump is like a month's worth of news. It's unbelievable. It barely can keep up with the guy.
Yeah, with Joe, they said they could barely keep up with Joe Biden, and yet as a journalist, I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about today? How did he screw over the country? But he would screw over the country like in little bursts, where Trump is like trying to benefit the country so quickly that I can barely keep my my wits about me. There's some breaking news coming out. President Biden's doctor is refusing to testify about his mental health, the decline. He was confronted. He said, "I'm just going to plead the fifth." Representative James Comer, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, he's saying, "No, you're going to be brought in." He's saying, "I'll use HIPAA. I'll use my Fifth Amendment rights." Why the cover up? Why not just come clean at this point? The guy's not even president anymore.
Well, because if he comes clean, let's say it's 2 years. Let's say I say it's the whole time, his whole term in office. But we'll just split hairs. Say it's 2 years. He comes back and says, this doctor says, for 2 years, Joe Biden was mentally unfit. Whoa, okay, well, that's a Pandora's box. So now we have to go back 2 years. Now we have to make a question. Okay, everything, quote, he signed on auto pen, everything he did is reversible. Then we have to make then there has to be an investigation. Okay, he was mentally unfit. Who knew? When did they know? What was the actions they took to create the 25th Amendment? You didn't do it. Okay, but you continue to sign all these bills and executive orders by using an auto pen. That's treason. So if this doctor actually comes out and tells us the truth, which we know that he was mentally unfit for all 4 years, this is unprecedented, right? I mean, this will be court battles, and we will go back 4 years and begin to untangle all of the treason that Joe Biden did. Then people are going to have to go to jail. And maybe a bigger question is, will Donald Trump arrest anybody? Will he put anybody in jail? And the answer to that question right now on this day is Trump will not, because he hasn't done it now. We're going into month 7. I'm the biggest Trump supporter you can imagine, the biggest MAGA guy. There hasn't been anybody arrested. We know, you and I know, there's treason going on. That has been going on, is going on now in America. And no one's arrested. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like the whole Epstein issue that I'm sure we're going to talk about. We know that Epstein was a blackmailer and a trafficker of children and money, and a money laundering machine. And yet we are told, nope, nothing to see here. I know we told you all, and everybody knows everything, but you just suspend reality and go into your bedroom and watch the Desert Housewives of the Congo and shut up. That's what it feels like. I believe that not only would this destroy the Democrat Party if this doctor comes out, but equally right now we're starting to see a gigantic rift in the MAGA movement and the MAGA people. It's crazy times in America right now.
Yeah, I do want to go deeper into that topic here in a minute. But do you believe that this doctor for Joe Biden? Do you believe that he's the linchpin? Because I know that they've brought in a woman. She said, "Yeah, I was doing the auto pen, but only when I was told to do it." Jill Biden's right-hand person, he's refusing to come in. I haven't seen him subpoenaed, arrested, and brought in yet. And now you have this Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the guy who literally would know whether this guy was, mentally deficient. Do you think that these guys are going to have the stones to actually haul these guys in front of Congress?
No, I don't think Comer will. Or if Comer does, it'll just be a dog and pony show, and they'll go. This doctor's in a catch-22. If he actually says that Joe Biden's incompetent, then he lied on medical forms, lied to the American public. Now he's eligible unless he cut a deal to kind of prosecution. Anybody that rats on the actual mental capacity of Joe Biden is going to be destroyed, if not, quote, Clinton, right, on their way to testify. Because they are the linchpin. Because if this doctor says, yeah, I apologize to America, he was in the throes of dementia, he had full stage 4 prostate cancer, he should never have been in the position. We were jacking him up on all kinds of narcotics to keep him alive during the morning hours. I mean, literally, that's the truth. So if he came out and said that, what would that do to America? It would be a bomb exploded inside of America, and we would have to go forward. I think they are the linchpin, but why would, if he can go back to HIPAA and hide behind and claim the Fifth Amendment, which is his right, why not do that? What is going to happen? Let's take a look at who's bringing in front of Congress. Comer and Jim Jordan. What did those two knuckleheads tell us on the Sean Hannity show months and months ago? I have more evidence right now to incarcerate Joe Biden for payoffs and all of his bank statements, and we can go and arrest him right now. The next day, until the day that Joe Biden was in office, they did nothing. They've done nothing. This is a uniparty. I don't believe Comer's going to do anything. Jim Jordan's going to roll up his sleeves and go on Hannity for the 1,000th time and do nothing. Name me real quick in your audience. Give me one Republican congressman and senator and tell me what they've done in the last decade to better America. Go ahead, and I'll wait here.
I can only tell you one.
What is that one?
Congressman Tim Burchett trying to get the cash being flown to the Taliban shut down. That's about it. That's the only one I can really think about.
He's an anomaly. Him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Hagerman from Montana. There's a handful of people that are trying, but the rest is just kabuki theater. I saw it firsthand when I went in front of Congress in last year to testify about child trafficking. I saw them up close and in person. Extremely unimpressive. Some of the dumbest people in our society are the people that are ruling us. And the reason why they're dumb is because they're handpicked to be in those positions. There's a small cabal of the elites that are running our government and running our country. That's just a fact. I mean, anybody that looks at the way America is working now and thinks that it's all you have to do is work hard, all you have to do is have some determination, and you're going to make it. I don't believe that anymore. I believe in having 100% responsibility and ownership of my life. No one else. My life is mine, and I created success or fail. But in order to be successful, I have to overcome the playing field. The playing field's tilted. The average American has to fight up. The elites, the people that are on the top level, they don't have any. They're already there. They've already been pushed up to that position. Look, we can talk about people in podcasting and media and entertainment and ask yourself, how in the hell did they get to that position? They have no ability. How did they do? Oh, then you start realizing, okay, this is elite connections. This is how it's going to be. So I think this is a very unique time in American history, and I call it an age of awakening, where what we've been told our whole lives through propaganda is now coming to the light that, no, this is a lie. Like, if you don't question everything that you have been told, say, I'm in my 50s, everything I've been told for 50 years, and if I don't question it, then I think that I'm intellectually dishonest with myself. I question everything, and I trust no one. And that's a terrible thing to say, that I don't trust anyone, and I don't. Name me one segment of in your life, be it your religious leaders, education, healthcare, political leaders, entertainment, social media, the NBA, NFL, BLM, all that. Do you trust them? Do you trust them 50%? Do you trust them 10%? I don't know. I don't know where you are on that spectrum, but I don't trust any of them. I just don't. what's real anymore? Maybe that's a great question like to be answered, is what is real anymore? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I drive down streets in middle America as I cross and go and do speeches and stuff, and I'm driving. The streets are falling apart. They're falling apart. And yet we send more money. Even today, Donald Trump's going to send more money to Ukraine. Dear God, what happened to make America great again and America first? What happened to that? I guess it doesn't exist. And am I crazy? Am I the crazy one that wants our roads built, that wants our schools to flourish, that doesn't want to pay taxes into the 60, 70% when I gather them all together? Am I the crazy one? Or should I shut up and then work harder to shovel more money out to across foreign countries that hate us? I think I'm not crazy, but hell, I don't know. Maybe I am.
Yeah, it's gaslighting at the highest level. Let me, this was one that kind of caught me off guard. I remember hearing President Trump and others say, hey, we've got to be really careful about specifically with farmers, right? Like we need some of these immigrants to be able to work here. They used to come in on these temporary work, permits, and then they would go back home. Your thoughts on all of a sudden there's this talk about maybe giving amnesty. Like, didn't Ronald Reagan do that in California? Like, I don't think this is a good idea, but I don't know if this is something that's just a rumor or if there's actual legs to this idea.
There's legs to it. Charlie Kirk came out, my days are running together, but I would say at least within the last 48 hours, saying that he has strong contacts inside the White House that are saying there's people of influence that are pushing a massive amnesty for Donald Trump. Now, thank you for asking me this question though, because a lot of people, they want to do a surface level discussion on this. And that's, I think it's intellectually dishonest, because you're talking to a guy that I did this job. I know exactly what we're talking about. I know the verbiage Trump's using. Trump can call it whatever he wants. He's talking about an amnesty. But here's the most ironic thing of all. There is already a legal process to get farm workers and to get service industry. Farm workers is H-2A visa, and the service workers, non-agricultural service workers, H-2B. And those numbers fluctuate. The average annual for the H-2A is 300,000 and the H-2B is like 66,000, but they can double, quadruple it through Congress. It's kind of fluid, whatever is needed. Big agriculture and big business does not want any of these people to be legalized. Why? Because they're all paying them under the table. So if I go and I legalize all of these people, then now they have Social Security numbers. So now when they go and they fill out their I-9s and do their W-2s like all of us Americans do, guess what the meatpacking plant in Tyson's going to have to do? They're going to have to pay Social Security tax. They're going to pay workers' comp. They're going to have to pay holidays, days off, sick leave, health care, all that. Why would I want to do that when I can pay Juan from Guatemala $10 an hour instead of paying him $20 an hour American wage, and then another $20 an hour for all of the benefits that our federal government forces employers to do? That's the dirty secret. And you mentioned Reagan. What happened when Reagan said, I'm going to do this amnesty? It was supposed to be 1 or 2 million. It ended up being closer to 5 million. It's a boondoggle. It's an absolute boondoggle. And I will say this, Donald Trump moves forward with amnesty. I will go from his biggest supporter and biggest MAGA guy to I will rail against him every single day to the end of his presidency, because he sold us out. The idea that he actually says it out loud pisses me off. And I'll tell you what else pissed me off. I don't know if you heard his speech. He said, there's a lot of right-wingers that are not going to like this. Hold on a second, man. Why do you use derogatory terms created by the left to slander all of the patriots that fought their ass off for you since you rode down that escalator in 2016 all the way through the stolen election, all the way to now. It's got your back, and you're going to use a derogatory term like right wing, like we're nut jobs or something. Hey, man. Hey, Mr. President, wake up. We didn't vote for amnesty. We didn't vote for Jeffrey Epstein's to just get away. We didn't vote for P. Diddy. We didn't vote to send money to Ukraine. We voted for you to shut the border down, which you did, and then eradicate tens of millions of people out of our country. How about that?
What if you could delay your next 2 mortgage payments? That's right. Imagine putting those 2 payments in your pocket and finally getting a little breathing room. It's possible when you call American Financing today. If you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas, bills piling up, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on a credit card, and there doesn't seem to be a way out. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off your debt. You need to call American Financing today before you get to a point where you can't make these payments. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and consolidate debt, all without upfront fees. And their customers are saving on average $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 a year raise by being smarter with your money. It's fast, it's simple, and it could save your budget this summer. Call now before it's late at 888-686-8030. That's 888-686-8030, or visit americanfinancing.net/Gardner.
And one more thing I would really like to say, because I think this is very important. I think this is very important. And when I was in the Border Patrol, I went and got my master's because I wanted to better my position for promotions and careers outside. And part of my thesis was the propaganda lie of how many illegal aliens are working in America. And we have been propagandized my whole life that construction 75%, service industries 50 to 60%, field workers are 90%. No, that's not true. The largest segment of illegal aliens working in one segment of our economy is construction. It's 13%. So you're going to tell me that out of 100 workers are supposed to show up for a work site, and only 87 show up. You're telling me that work site shuts down and they can't do their job? It's a lie. And let me give you, I'll give you, I don't like just to tell you, here's my facts and figures. I want to give you some real life, what happened just this month on the job reports in June. So you had like a little bit of March, but mainly April and May, we had massive ICE raids on construction sites. We've seen all the videos, hundreds of people running off the job sites, mainly in Florida and up and down the coast. Well, guess what happened when you just took all of those illegal aliens from the construction field and deported them? Guess what happened in the month of June? In the month of June, the construction industry just came out and said they added 15,000 new jobs. 15,000. So what you did is you took thousands of illegal aliens out. They had to hire U.S. citizens, so they had to raise the wage, and 15,000 Americans got those jobs. That's what I'm talking about when you talk about this propaganda bullcrap lie from Donald Trump and all the rhinos and all the Democrats that we need all of this unskilled illegal aliens to make our economy. And one final point, if your pitch to me, your belief is that the greatest economy in the world has ever seen, our economy hinges on the need of millions of illegal, uneducated, illiterate people that have no job skills. You're going to try to sell that to me. You're going to sell that the whole economy is going to crash. I don't believe it. And the numbers are on my side. They are provable, factual numbers are coming from the Department of Justice, the Department of Labor. It's all there if you just want to read it and open your eyes and not be propagandized into this gigantic cesspool of lies that we're living in now.
Yeah, I found this just last night over on Fox News Business. American-born workers gained 2 million jobs since January, while foreign-born workers lose 500,000 jobs. So, they keep saying, oh, we got to get people off of Medicaid. 5 million young men on Medicaid, right? Well, they got to go get jobs.
Yep.
So you remove the illegals, that job opens, and what happens? It gets filled with Americans.
No, I mean, that's an incredible thing that you just showed, because it's factually true. If you go back to 2024 under Joe Biden, that was reversed. Do you know that in the last several years of Joe Biden, the net gain of jobs went to all illegal aliens? Illegal aliens were the net consumer of jobs in America. And everyone, like a bunch of stupid SEALs, were like, oh, isn't that great? We need those. Thank God for these illegals. They're so hardworking. If they weren't here, then we would just die. No, we won't. Look, I'll give you an example. LA. Look at LA. It's a ghost town. Nobody's there anymore because illegal aliens are either been deported or they're scared to death to come out. And guess what we've done? We've been spending billions of dollars on infrastructure, billions of dollars on healthcare, billions of dollars on incarceration for a population that shouldn't even be here in America. It is so Orwellian. It is so Twilight Zone. It is so insane how our country has been propagandized to believe this myth, this absolute myth. How did America become great? It became great because Americans were united as one, and we had the ability to work our ass off, and we could pull ourselves from one economic sector in up the ladder up to the next rung. That's the only reason why America was great. Now you funnel in 50 million, and I'll go through the numbers how I get there. I'm seeing the numbers now coming in. It's whispered, so I know that it's going to be true very soon. I'm hearing whispers of 60 million illegal aliens are now being counted in America. I said after Joe Biden left, it was 50. There are whispers now of 60. Credible sources that I trust completely are whispering, I think it's 60. My dad is showing it's 60. I'm like, God, you can't make this up, man. And you tell me that I'm sideways in my belief, then my retort to you, my challenge to you is go through history, not history of last year, the history of civilization, and show me where a percentage of a demographic population is overturned by the demographic change of America, and that has succeeded, meaning has lived on. And the answer, there is none. There is none. We will not come out of this okay unless Donald Trump ramps up deportations, gets rid of that word amnesty. If I was president, if anyone came to me and even uttered that word amnesty, I'd fire him on the spot. Fire him on the spot.
Do you think being president puts that individual in a bubble, and then they're like trying to get information, but now we know even the intel agencies are feeding the sitting president information that benefits them or somebody they know. I just wonder if he's not reading the room because he's getting bad data.
I think that could be factually true. I really do. I think that he has to be in a bubble, right? Just physically, he's in a bubble. Doesn't have an iPhone in his hand, right? He has all handlers. I thought about this. I thought, what would happen if I was president and the intel agencies, and I know that I'd be propagandized constantly. I think I would set up a shadow team of about 5 guys that I absolutely trusted. Like, trusted, you're incorruptible. You're going to shoot me straight. It could be just my homies, one homie from high school or something, someone that I knows that watches the news, has a good feel. And I would reach out to them. I do that now. So I don't know why I wouldn't do that now. Like, I don't know how you are being inundated. Sometimes you're just for hours watching videos, doing research, and you begin to get in a loop, right? And then you have to ask yourself, am I on this right? Or am I being a little harsh? Because that's all I'm doing is taking this information. So I will actually call friends that are outside of the podcasting, outside of this world that I find myself, and I ask them, am I crazy? This is what I believe. They watch my show, they listen to me, and they go, no, No, you're not. You're keep driving it home. But I think everyone needs somebody outside of their business or work that they can bounce an idea off. I don't know if it's Melania Trump. I don't know if it's his sons. We haven't heard anything from his sons. His sons, both of his sons are very, very smart. The older adult ones are very intelligent. His son Barron is too, but very accomplished sons. My hope is that you surround yourself with people that are great. But I mean, let's just be honest. Trump pushes people around him many times that are very questionable. Look at his friendship, his deep friendship with Lindsey Graham. What's Lindsey Graham done for America? But Trump is right by his side talking about he's the greatest American and you got to follow him. What are you talking about? Lindsey Graham's in Ukraine stoking the war with, and then I don't get it. Or putting everyone in your cabinet or have a large segment in your cabinet that actually has a bigger allegiance to Israel than to the United States of America. I don't know, man. And I don't want to be called, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Wait a minute. I don't believe in what Israel's doing. I don't believe what Mexicans do. The Mexico government's doing with the narcos. So now am I anti-Mexican? We just live in this very weird time in American history that I don't think historians are really going to be able to get a grasp on until they're 50, 100 years out away from this, and they can look back with very clear eyes. And they're going to make fun of us. They're going to talk about us the way we talk about the people that did the Salem witch trials. They're going to say that we were unintelligent, we were driven by emotion, and we were stupid. I really believe they're going to say that.
Well, look at how they talk about Ronald Reagan. I mean, almost everyone I know loves Ronald Reagan, but they don't bring up the Amnesty thing and how he turned California blue. And okay, two things that I want to, before I forget. So I don't want to say the senator's name, but it's somebody that I like and respect that was speaking with somebody while I was waiting to go on a show, and they were saying like, we're a little bit lost as Republicans. We don't really know what our voters want. When I heard that, I was like, are you kidding me? You don't know what your voters want? And then he was saying, you know, we can do these surveys, but it costs $500,000 to $1 million to understand what our people want. And then they got off the phone and I got on and I said, dude, I can run a poll and tell you right now. Do you agree with Trump? Illegals should be removed from Medicaid immediately. 870,000 people, 94% of them say, we do not want illegals getting our Medicaid. God. Like I could go down, I can ask these questions. I could get you data so quickly. Do you support Trump's decision to remove the US from the WHO? Boom, 500,000 people, 92% said yes. I don't know why Republicans make it so hard sometimes. Just go ask the people what they want, but actually listen to them. The problem is there's a lot of people in Washington that don't want to do what their voters want. They want to do what the people that gave them money to get in. Okay, that was just a little soapbox. You mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think one of the biggest things that we could do to take back our country is this idea that she floated to President Trump in the last week saying, we need to immediately redo the U.S. Census. And if you remove those 60 million illegals, what does this country really look like? And I believe it's a very red country.
Well, I thank you so much for bringing this up, because people ask me all the time, what's the why? Why did the Democrats open the door to our border and flood our country with 30 million? 30 million in 4 years. If you just go off of government data, they admit to 18 million. Donald Trump's now admitting to 21 million. I know it's 30. Let's just play this game. If we were to take the census in 2030, but I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, we have been artificially inflated demographically. If you take these 50 million out, do you know what they're guessing at? The low number of blue seats that will go to red will be 25. The height, they say, is up to 62 seats. If they keep it, but the flip side, if they count these people in the 2030 census, everything changes. You'll have over 60 seats go to the Dems in the House. It's over. We're beating our chest going, yeah, we have a four seat majority. Look at us, we're doing so great. What if I told you in 2030 you're going to have a 60 seat majority for the Dems? It's over. The game is over. That's the play the Democrats have done. That's the demographic shift. That's the why. And then also, when you look at the 2030 census, what Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to do is too, as you know, when they do that, they will reappropriate the Electoral College votes as well. It's over. It's over, guys, because the majority of all the illegal aliens are in the blue cities and states. They'll just redistrict everything and reallocate all the House seats and electoral colleges, and we're done. We're absolutely done. And that's why I'm imploring Donald Trump. You, Donald Trump, say that Joe Biden committed treason. Your words, not mine. You said this is a national security issue, having this many illegal aliens in our country. Then why don't you start acting as if it's a national security issue? Meaning, where's the military? Where are the military flights running nonstop? Where is the demand that there's sanctuary cities end and you start arresting people? Why is Karen Bass still walking around? Just yesterday, she impeded federal agents. Why is she not in handcuffs? Where's the agent that's going to have the balls to go, you just bumped into me, ma'am. You just stepped in my way of arresting an illegal alien, and take that DEI hire to the ground and handcuff her? Who's going to have the courage to do that? I don't think any of them do. I really don't.
Yeah.
We're just in the demographic shift, and people, I want your audience to understand, 50 million illegal aliens, when you look at their birth rates per the UN, the illegal aliens that are in our country reproduce at a rate almost 5 times that of U.S. citizens. And U.S. citizens are not even reproducing at the replacement level. We are 1-2 generations away from being wiped out of our country, from a nation of citizens to a nation of non-citizens and foreign nationals. That's a factual truth.
Yeah, no, I know that it is. Okay, speaking of factual truth that we may never get an answer on, what is going on with this Jeffrey Epstein thing? Have we been did they hype this up so much that now we can't get over ourselves, or are we just being lied to? Because to me, it feels like we're being lied to.
I believe we're absolutely being lied to. Look, you and I don't have to come up with theories of what Jeffrey Epstein did. There's evidence of what he's done. The greatest thing, the greatest byproduct of Donald Trump actually yelling at that reporter and chastising him, Donald Trump's tone deaf, absolutely tone deaf on this, is that it forced everyone in this media world to begin to flood the internet with all of the evidence again. Here it is. Wait a minute, Pam Bondi. There's evidence that there's tens of thousands of videos, and now you say they don't exist. Wait a minute. Maxwell is in prison for 20 years for trafficking ghosts to thin air. Why is she in prison? If you're telling me this didn't exist, why is Maxwell, why is she in prison? Well, because she was trafficking children under Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, but Jeffrey Epstein's clean. They're actually saying that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't using his mansions and his hundreds of millions of dollars to not blackmail people. They say it's a fantasy. Here's what I really believe. This is the truth. I believe this, and I've heard other people that I trust say the same thing. It is their way, the elite's way of letting us know that they're lying. They know that we know they're lying. They don't care. They're showing us that no matter what you say or do, we hold all the cards and we are going to do what we want. I'm showing you my force right now, the power I have. And I think the other thing they're doing is they're letting everyone else know, all the other pedophiles, stay calm. We have this. Don't say anything. We got this taken care of. I really believe that that's the message being told. I mean, do you think Jeffrey Epstein went from a non-credentialed substitute teacher to Bear Stearns, and then all of a sudden got several hundreds of millions of dollars and then had islands and ranches everywhere. And he did that because he was the Forrest Gump of today's society, just in the right spot at the right time financially. Am I supposed to believe that? Or am I supposed to believe that it was better believed that he's CIA or Mossad and he was blackmail honeypotting U.S. citizens and senators and presidents, etc.? And I believe why we're not being shown this is because the people at the highest level of our society are involved in it.
Yeah, I agree. I need to do a new poll, but I did a poll just in the last 21 hours, 120,000 people. Do you think that we'll ever get the Epstein files? 42% said, I think the truth will come out. 47% will never see it. 11%, honestly, I'm not sure. Now I need to ask, is this an important issue that we have the truth? That'll be my poll for later. But I can already tell you, I've seen some of Trump's most loyal people are saying, dude, this Epstein thing, you've got to make this a priority. And I just don't know that they're going to.
Why do you think why do you think they're not going to do it? What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is he's probably linked to some kind of intelligence, and they're covering for whoever the partner is, whether it's Israel or somewhere in Europe, or there has to be. This guy literally accomplished nothing, but he's touted as a billionaire pervert that had mansions in the nicest areas of Florida, a private island, a ranch bigger than most, bigger than Ronald Reagan. Like, how'd this guy get his money if he wasn't blackmailing? Come on.
He had to be. And then, the people want to talk about the flight list. Understand that probably a lot of people got to his island not by flying there. They got by boat or took a helicopter or whatever. We just know the base level, like the tip of the iceberg. But here's something that no one wants to talk about, or it's rarely discussed. This man is a convicted child. He's on the mandatory sex reporting. He was a convicted pedophile. And yet these people, all of the Ritz elite, all went there. That's like me coming to you and saying, hey, listen, Gardner, I got this friend. We're going to go. He has an island in Hawaii. It's amazing. And first thing you would say, well, who is this guy? He's going to fly us there? Yep. Who is he? And you go, it's Jeffrey Epstein. And I need to tell you something before we go. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but he's a convicted pedophile. I'm not going. You had people that were going to his parties after he was convicted of child. Think about that for a second. My best friend could go and some child, and then he wants to be my friend still? Not going to happen. I'm definitely not going to go to parties with you. I'm definitely not going to fly on your plane. I'm definitely not going to go to your island where there's masseuses that are 15, 16 years old. Are you kidding me? So you're going to try to convince me that these hundreds, if not thousands of people that were having with children, that's okay. You're going to try to convince me that it was all platonic, that they were just getting massages, and it was, we just had our clothes on, or I was wearing my underwear at the time. Do you see the absurdity that the reality that we're being told is the truth is like Alice in Wonderland? It's like everyone's on acid in America, and we're all tripping, and they're telling us what we're seeing. And we're like, no, that's not what we're seeing. Yep, that's what you're seeing. Okay. Epstein's a good dude. Literally, I'm waiting for, next to St. Anthony Fauci, I'm waiting for a new statue for St. Epstein. That he's the saint of young children. Like Dr. Fauci's the saint of scientific discovery and vaccines. That's the world we live in. And why is Donald Trump so tone deaf on this? I don't know. Like I know you saw the video of his cabinet where he lashed out a reporter, and I was like, my God, What is wrong with you? Do you understand it's not Jeffrey Epstein? It's what Jeffrey Epstein represents. That's what we voted for you, and not for the potato head that was sitting in office with all the pedophiles before. And I don't think is Trump really that disconnected? God, man, I don't know.
I mean, maybe this is the thing that he needs to wake him up and go, oh, okay. I'll give you an example. Remember when he used to talk about, Operation Warp Speed, I got these vaccines, I cut all the red tape, and I saved millions of lives. Some people say 100 million lives. He doesn't say any of that. Why? Because he was getting booed. Like, the room let him know. So I'm hoping that this will get back. You'll have some of the biggest podcasters, some of the biggest influencers, people around him, his own children going, hey, by the way, Dad, did you know that like, you're all over the internet for this thing about Jeffrey Epstein? Like, I think this is important to your voters. I'm hoping that message gets up to him.
So let me ask you a question. I saw a Patrick Bet-David, excuse me, on Jesse Waters, and he was saying that Donald Trump's making a huge misstep. And he said that he thinks about, at least, it's not 80%, it's more like 20% of the voters of Trump's voter cares about Epstein. And I'm a big fan of Patrick Bet-David, but I think he's reversed. I think it's from what I witnessed, at least 80%, 90% truly care. What are you doing with Epstein? Do you think that I'm wrong, or do you think that Patrick David is correct with the 20%? I think it's almost in the high 80s, 90% of MAGA people want something done.
Everyone that I associate with was caught off guard by this. So I would tend to believe that it's a much higher percentage than 20%. I don't know if it's 80, but I do believe it's a very high number.
Yeah. I think the combination of this Epstein, which is basically example or representation of the elites, coupled with Amnesty, it will rip MAGA apart, and Elon Musk will slide in with the third party. I really believe that will happen, because what I think will happen if no one gets arrested, let's say we go 4 years and no one's arrested, none of these treasonous bastards are arrested, no one's held accountable, there will be a massive, significant percentage of Americans that will literally turn off, like literally go to the TV, the old days, and just turn the knob. I'm out. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on X. I'm not voting. Don't come near me. I really believe that, because quite honestly, Donald Trump and the MAGA movement was my last hope. If he fails, I don't think there is anyone else that can come up and do anything. And maybe to a point is, I heard this discussion of a podcaster or several podcasters saying this, and it really struck me. We are arguing about massive, major topics that we all agree need to happen, and we're arguing on the starting line. We're arguing about amnesty. We're arguing about Epstein. We're arguing about taxation. We're arguing about funding Ukraine. That was already discussed when we voted for you, Donald Trump. We're supposed to be at the finish line right now. If you're going to have a discussion on, okay, do we open up more legal pathways and more people in once they're all gone? Okay, what about foreign aid? Should we give foreign aid or not? That should have, these conversations we're having right now should never, number one, never exist. And a semblance of that argument should be being done when it's all completed. We're fighting about things that were already adjudicated, if you will, in the election. Like, you're talking about a politician saying, I don't know what our voters really want. No, sir. We just had an election in 2024 in November. We were very resounding of what the hell we want. And now everybody acts as if, I don't know what we want. I don't know if people care about Epstein. Hell, let's do amnesty. If I wanted amnesty, I would have voted for Kamala Harris. But I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. So what the hell are you doing, Mr. Trump? And like you said, you want to talk about a massive MAGA supporter? That's me. I'm looking at Donald Trump and I'm saying, you are the man chosen for these times. And now I'm saying, what are you doing? I mean, it's like, this is MAGA 101. You're not even doing MAGA 101. It doesn't make any sense to me. I really don't. I'm confused a little bit, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and Fox News isn't asking these questions to get us the answers, and then I can't get these people on my show because they say none of them can come on your show without permission from the White House, and then the White House says go on Fox News. So like it's really hard to get to the sources of truth.
Uh-huh.
The only reason I had that Tim Burchett example in my back pocket is he's come on my show, and that was the thing that I cared about, and he went and got it done. And I was like, okay, finally somebody got something done, So, but other than that,
I love that guy. I mean, he's amazing. When you listen to what he says, if you stop, if your audience just stops and goes and Google him or put him on YouTube, the things that he says are shocking. Like, he doesn't candy coat it. He just tells you the truth from a guy from the inside. And I think when people like that talk, we need to stop and listen, actually try to digest what he's saying. I mean, think about the money we were sending money to the Taliban. We were sending money to our enemies. I mean, honestly, it's almost as if you and I are lying. Like, I don't even think if you and I if we were starting out in our business and we were like, let's just get some clicks, man. Let's generate some buzz. What can we make up? How about we make up that we're sending hundreds of millions of dollars literally on crates and flying them to our enemy in the Middle East? Yeah, that's amazing. Let's see how far that can go. No, that's the truth. That's the truth. Hey, why don't we tell everybody that we open the border and 30 million people are going to come across the border? No, that's insane. Gardner, we can't go that. That's so beyond reality. They'll know us for frauds. No. That actually happened. That's how insane this world I find myself in. These discussions that you and I are having are absurd. They're absurd. 10 years ago, if I told you these topics we're going to talk about, you would say you're mentally insane, JJ. There's no way this is happening. Here we are. It's crazy time.
It is. It is crazy time. I'll end with this. When Congressman Tim Burchett came on, he was in a bright orange shirt. His hands had dirt on them. And he's like, I'm sorry I'm late to the interview. I've been dealing with a rebellious donkey all morning. I said, oh, I thought you were home from Washington, D.C. He's a great guy.
Good guy.
JJ, I appreciate you coming on. These are hard discussions. My audience, they're big MAGA, but these conversations are happening offline.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the conversations that if you can tap into and solve those problems, that's how businesses are great. They find a problem, they solve it better than anyone else, and it goes really great. That's how you make America great again. So if people want to follow you, catch your show, we've got your book out, Treason. I want to put a direct link to that. Tell my audience just really quickly about Treason.
Treason is a best-selling book on Amazon. It looks at the 4 years of Joe Biden and the very first month of Donald Trump coming into office, and shows you that this was done intentionally and strategically. I'm proud of the book because everything that I wrote about this book has become factually validated. RFK Jr., 500,000 children trafficked. He called the American government the largest child sex trafficking organization in history. I write about this in my book. I show that USAID was funded all the demise of America. Everything I wrote about has come true. I don't take joy in that, but I've been professionally validated. And you can find all my work at jjcarroll.com. Okay. So I appreciate this time talking to you, man.
No, I appreciate you and all the years of service you gave, not only in the military, but on the border to keep us safe. I'm going to put those direct links down below. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you very much.